This week, Mark Latham, a columnist for the Australian Financial Review and one-time maybe possible Prime Minister of Australia, resigned from his column, and he didn't necessarily offer up a reason, neither did the paper, but there is something that happened, and that thing that happened was an article written by our guest here on Download This Show. He is the political editor for BuzzFeed Australia. Welcome, Mark Stefano.
Thank you so much, Mark.
Now, you wrote an article explaining that a Twitter account that became infamous for trolling very high-profile Australian women. You wrote an article supposing that that was, in fact, Mark Latham, and you went through and you itemised all the different reasons why it might be so. Just walk me through what it is that gave you the first inkling that that might be the case, which, of course, has tumbled out in the way that we've seen.
It was actually Monday last week, and I remember I was watching Q&A, and someone joked to me on Twitter that @RealMarkLatham, the Twitter account, was him. So I'm starting to realise how we can use Twitter and social media to source stories. I jokingly said, does anyone know if @RealMarkLatham is him? And my direct messages were just pummeled with people telling me it was him. And I got sent emails and a whole bunch of people came forward who gave me all of this evidence. And it was Friday afternoon and I'd been sitting on this story and I decided to just publish it. And it was 3 reasons why we thought that it was him, compelling bits of evidence. The first one, that he was interacting, this Twitter account was interacting with a whole bunch of his mates in real life.
I think interacting is that's a highbrow word for it.
Yeah, slurring his mates
There
in
we
real
go,
life.
there we go.
The second thing is that Aaron Patrick, who's the AFR deputy editor, had been tweeting out his columns with the handle in it. Mm-hmm. The third thing, which we found to be the most compelling piece of evidence, is the fact that these tweets, large sections of them would appear verbatim in his columns months and weeks later. And we sort of just chunked it out and we told everyone, here's the tweet, here's the column, here's the tweet, here's the column. And we just sort of said, if he is not behind this account, he's plagiarizing a parody Twitter account, which
not a good look either.
which is for a national newspaper hilarious.
Yeah.
So as we kept saying is that if it's not him, we have an even funnier story on our hands. It would have been hilarious that one of the most high-profile columnists in Australia is actually ripping content from a parody Twitter account in his name. So it just finally just peaked and it hit a nerve amongst a whole bunch of people.
Because the whole time he's been just writing some pretty foul stuff on Twitter about a whole bunch of high-profile people, and it's sort of been getting away with it.
What sort of stuff are we talking about?
He publishes a lot of this horrible ideas in his column. So Catherine McGregor, who's a transgender military official, Rosie Batty, Australian of the Year, Adam Goods, former Australian of the Year, Lisa Pryor, Fairfax writer, Annabelle Crabb, Lee Sales, Ann Summers, he would be just slurring them. It might not be just an anti-feminist rant. He would actually hit a nerve with a lot of these people with stories about their past. Off the record, I couldn't publish, but this Twitter account was publishing snippets of memories from people's past that only Mark Latham could know. So as an example is, he goes on this Twitter run, against Rosie Batty, tagging in tweets. And one of them ends with, "From you, such a great judge of male character, I'll take that as a compliment," which is essentially saying that Rosie Batty, whose husband at the time killed her son, a perfect example of trolling and harassment.
Yeah.
I'm still freaking out by the fact that Mark Latham hasn't come forward. We still don't know if it's 100% him, but anyway, let's just keep rolling with it. And then on Monday morning, we published a story which tied the email address that he puts at the bottom of his accounts to this Twitter account. And for us, that was the slam dunk. And then an hour later, there was an announcement that he'd resigned.
We can't, and no one can, draw a link between his resigning and these. And he's never admitted to anything. The AFR have never, strictly speaking, haven't really spoken about it, have they? Walk us through how one does go confirming that an email address is associated with an account.
You can't go to Twitter and say, can you please tell us the email address that's linked to this account? They will just say, we tried, and they just said no. So we found a way around it, which was basically you have someone's email address, you upload it to your Gmail contacts, you then go and you go find your friends on Twitter. It scrapes all of your Gmail contacts and then it shows you the people who you can follow based off that. Then you can actually then do a double back and it shows you who is actually online via that email. And we published it as 7 easy steps to find out who someone is on Twitter. We jokingly said internally as well, we just gave people or creeps a chance to find out if their crush is on Twitter. Because if you've got an email address, you can find out what their Twitter handle is.
I'd like to add something in here and just say that as soon as I read that article, I was like, interesting. Walked over to my computer, opened my Twitter settings. Am I findable via my email address?
Yeah.
It's like, no, that setting is turned off because yesterday, Claire, or 2 months ago, Claire, is smart and privacy focused.
All right, there is lots more to this discussion, including the wider world of how journalism is changing online. Make sure you listen to the audio edition of Download This Show. It is live on the RN website. If you happen to be watching this on Facebook, I've probably linked to it somewhere. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit subscribe, because if you don't, Roy, our video producer, he beats me. Bye.